Where's the smoke coming from? Why has it taken us so long to do this job? We should have done this at the very beginning. Every video we get at least 5 or 6 comments saying the exact same thing, and this time we have listened. So as you guys know, we have been travelling all over the place in this good old trusty Volkswagen T25, but one thing we didn't have on our adventure is heat, but that is all about to change. So we have spent endless amount of nights in this van freezing our absolute asses off because we didn't have a diesel heater. We spent nights in the Pyrenees down at like -1, -2, absolutely frozen in Achill Island, up in Donegal, everywhere, and we suffered quite a bit. That is all going to change today because VEVOR has seen us struggling in the past and they have kindly sent us out their 2 kilowatt diesel heater. Now this is going to be perfect for Fergus because, as you guys know, Fergus is not a big van, so there is not much space to put it. So this little 2 kilowatt diesel heater is going to fit nicely into one of the cupboards, and that is going to bring heat to the van at last. So while Annie's out in Spain sunning herself, I'm stuck here in Ireland where it's lashing rain. I'm going to get to work, get installing this diesel heater, and by the time Annie comes back, this van will be like a sauna. And I don't want to hear Annie complain any more about this van being too cold, because she's going to be complaining that it's too hot.
Hi guys from sunny Spain. I'm here enjoying myself in the sun while Shane is in the cold Irish weather trying to install a diesel heater into Fergus. I'm so excited to come back to a warm Fergus, but for now I'm here in the warm Spanish weather, and I know Shane's going to do such a brilliant job like always, so I trust him so much. It was about time that we installed this diesel heater. We've suffered so many cold nights in Fergus in Ireland. In Spain we never needed it, but it was just really hard to take Fergus on an Irish road trip during winter. So loads of adventures coming up, and back to Shane. Hope you're getting on all good.
So the struggle that we had with Fergus is that Fergus is very small. Like, there is not much space inside Fergus at all. Under here is for all our storage, like our batteries and everything. This here is our food cupboard. Our water tanks are in behind me. But we're going to have to make some bit of a sacrifice in order to fit a diesel heater into this van. So we don't want to lose all the storage under here, because when we are traveling that does get quite full. So we're going to have to lose a little bit of our storage space for our food, which is in here. I'm going to have to take this door off, and we're going to have to work a little bit of a magic to get this to fit. So let's take the door off first and then see what we're working with. There's really actually 2 screws, I thought it was 4. So this is what we are working with. We do not have much space whatsoever, so this little diesel heater is going to have to fit in there like that. So the way I have the floor built in Fergus, I have, like, obviously the van floor, I have an inch of insulation, then I have a wooden floor on top of that, I have lino, and then I have the bottom base of the cupboard. So there's quite a depth between here and underneath the van. So that is why I had to buy this plate on Amazon, this torque plate, where you drill a big massive 5-inch hole, you slot this down into it, and then you can work away from the bottom, and then you don't run the risk of the exhaust heating up anything around the floor. Just a little bit of a safety measure. But I don't like drilling this big massive hole on the floor. That's going to be scary. I think if we install the diesel heater under this bench seat, it's going to be too close to our battery. I don't want that. I want it in there nice and safe, out of the way. So I've put down my torque plate and I've marked it all out, measured 10 times, but just to be sure, I'm going to drill a pilot hole first, and then I can get underneath the van, I can hold up my big drill bit, and then I'll be able to see what I'm actually going to be cutting out. So that is the first hole drilled. Let's see where the drill bit came out. Oh, we did a good job. Just look at the size of the drill bit we need to use to drill out this floor. Now it's time to get out the big guns, and this huge hole saw is going to do damage. So fingers crossed everything goes smoothly. I don't want to be left with a big 5-inch hole in the floor. Well, it's going to save a weight. Cut through the first 2 layers. Now we have 3 more layers to go. Hey! So now we have a 5-inch hole drilled through our floor. Going through 5 layers, we had the base of our cupboard, we had our lino, we had our wood underneath that, we had our vapor barrier, we have our insulation, then we have our floor of the van. We drilled through quite a bit. So now it's time to see, does this fit down into the hole? And then if it does, Bob's your uncle, let's start putting all this together. So we ran into a little bit of a challenge, and this plate is 60mm deep, but because we have like so much floor, and we have the cupboard, we have the lino, the floor, everything is underneath there, it was like 70mm thick. So when we put this here in, the floor was still exposed, so we couldn't leave it like that, because when we were driving, if it was raining, all underneath the floor would be getting wet, be soaking up through the floor, and it would be rotten from the inside out. So we had to get out the tool, cut out the bottom of the cupboard, and that gave us an extra 10mm, and that allowed it to drop down a little bit more, so we can seal it up, it'd be all nice and tight, and there'd be no water getting in. Let me show you. We had to cut out this floor right here, so when we put this in, it sits down nice and flush, and that this will sit down even lower, and that will work out perfect. So now this is what it looks like from underneath. I have it all sealed up, sprayed, everything is covered, so now it's time to just screw it down into place, seal up around it, and start fitting. So far so good. The diesel heater is all in place, everything is screwed down. Now it's time to go underneath the van and start bolting it down from underneath, and then we can start connecting up our fuel hose, our exhaust, our air intake. So before we do that, just let me explain something that we are going to be doing. So with this kit here, you get a fuel tank just like this, but as I said before, Fergus is absolutely tiny and we have little to no space. So instead of using the diesel tank that comes with it, I am going to be teeing into the diesel tank of Fergus with the help of this little T-piece. We have our inline fuel filter. I've upgraded this fuel hose, so that is going to go from our fuel tank all the way into the diesel heater. That means we don't have to store this tank anywhere, and we don't have to be filling the tank from inside the van, although that is what we're going to be doing with the big blue bus. But with this van, we have no space whatsoever, so that is not a possibility. So let's get under the van, screw it in, start cutting the fuel line and teeing into it. Doesn't really fit. So now the diesel heater is all connected up underneath, and it's time to start putting on our exhaust pipe and just putting on this heat shield that comes with it, and then we're going to install our breather pipe, cut it into our fuel lines, and start getting her all fired up and get Fergus nice and toasty. Okay, so we have the exhaust installed, we have our air intake, we have to tie that up out of the way. Everything is looking pretty good. Now the fun task is going to be cutting the fuel hose, and fingers crossed we don't get covered in fuel. We have it clamped here, we have our piece ready to go in. We spilled a little bit, but not too much. That worked, but I got covered in diesel. So we are making great progress with the diesel heater. We have plumbed up into our diesel tank. That's all good. We have it almost wired up. Because I am putting the fuel pump outside the van, I had to cut the wire so I could drill a small hole and not have to have a big hole to get this onto our fuel pump. So now I just have to solder it back up, tidy it all up, connect it in, and then we have to start priming it to get the diesel through the lines up into the fuel pump, up into the diesel heater, and then we should be nice and warm. So the handy thing about having the all powers is that I can have my solder down here with the van where there is no plugs, so it's nice and handy. Get this soldered up and we'll be ready to hit the road. Oh, I think we're near sorted. Dust me eyes. And that is us finished underneath the van. Now it's time to go into the van, make sure everything is connected up, turn it on and see what happens. He said let there be light. There was no light because this is not connected up. So now it is the moment of truth. Is it going to work? I don't know. He said let there be light. There was light. It works. It just says you had to prime it. Let me refer to the manual. Okay, oil pumping mode. Under the first power on off state, press and hold the down arrow for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh shit. That is loud. What? So this happens for 300 seconds while it's priming. Jesus, this is loud. So we are on the final countdown. We have 9 seconds left. Either going to explode or something. Huff.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
I'm not going anywhere.
Start heating.
It's cold. Did I miss something? Oh. Hey, it's getting hot. Oh shit. Where's the smoke coming from?
Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
Where's all the smoke coming from? So that is the diesel heater installed and it seems to be working. I did turn it on and it was up at like pretty high heat at the very start. For some reason it just turned on at that temperature and it got very smoky at the very beginning, but seemingly that is what happens at the startup. So I have it running on at the lowest temperature possible for the last 15-20 minutes and the smoke has all cleared, so we are good to go. So we're going to run it here for a while, see how warm it gets inside the van, and tomorrow we're going to crack on with a little bit more work to this week. So of course you can hear that dreaded ticking noise from the diesel pump, but actually when you're inside the van it's not that bad. It's terrible when you're outside the van, but inside the van it is pretty quiet, so it's not too bad. But the difference of having this heater, how have we went for nearly 3 years without having a heater in this van? You just come inside the van and it's so warm. It's such a difference than coming back into the van freezing, sitting around trying to put in a wee electric heater for like 5 minutes hoping it doesn't drain the batteries. This here, we should have listened to you guys long ago. All I can say is that when Annie gets back here in a couple of days, she is gonna love this. So it is the next day and thankfully there has been no leaks from the diesel or anything. The van's not went up on fire. We are all good. Now it's time to tidy up all the wiring. We still have this little control panel which stays on all the time, so it's going to be like a bright light at night. I'm going to maybe hide it here in the cupboard, so then we just have to open the cupboard, turn it on, and we're just left with this here's not in our face. So that's going to be today's plan, and hopefully we can get that sorted. The whole install is complete. I have ran all my wires, I have everything sealed up, everything should be good to go, and I've hidden away the LCD display. It's in this cupboard right here, so you don't have to worry about it at night being bright. There is a little clock on it and we just don't like sleeping with like a bright light, so that is hidden there. It still works on the remote, so you don't have to have it out. It is perfect for us. It's going to make a huge difference to Fergus. So I want to give a huge shout out to VEVOR for sending us out this 2 kilowatt diesel heater. It is going to make a huge difference to Fergus, and they have kindly given us a 5% discount code for you guys. So the discount code is VEVOR5OFF. That is VEVOR 5 off, and you can get 5% off across the whole entire website, so make sure you go check it out. It's going to be linked down below. So guys, moving away from Fergus, we are now inside the big blue bus. I keep saying it, but we still have to come up with a name for it. We are going to decide it this week. You have to hold us accountable for it. We are going to pick a name for the big blue bus. It might end up being the big blue bus, but we have encountered a leak inside the van, and guess what? It's not from any of the holes that we have made inside the van. It is coming from one of the seams where the roof has been welded together. I don't know how the water is getting in. I do not know, but it is right up here. So right up here is where we are getting the leak, and here is a bolt for the solar panel, and here is the other bolt on the same bracket, and the leak is right in the center, and that is where the two panels have been like welded together. So at the very seam where there's seam weld and everything, that is where the water it keeps seeping through. I've been up and I have covered it with the sealant that we used to fill all the holes, and I'm just waiting now for it to rain and see is there any more water coming in, because it is pretty annoying. When you have a leak and you don't know where it's coming from, it drives you absolutely mad. So slowly but surely the big blue bus is starting to take shape, and I have most of the wires ran. I have a few more to run, but I had to go and get some extra cable because we are running wires now for our fridge, and they have to be thicker than the normal cable you'd use for the likes of your light and everything. So I've got 2.5mm cable. 7 meters of it should get us from the control panel all the way around the roof, down and over into where our fridge is going to be. So you see the difference in the thickness of the cables. This is for our fridge and this one is for the lights. Like seriously, how does wire get tangled up so quickly? I'm only after taking it off the roll. Trying to run these wires without getting tangled. So guys, I have been cracking on with this van build. I have finished all the installation, I've ran all my wires, I've stuck the floor down, everything is ready to go. Next week we should see a huge transformation to this van build. So now it's time to go and collect Annie. She should be arriving in a couple of hours, and today is actually my birthday, so it's time to go celebrate my birthday. And then next week we are going to be cracking on with this van build, and we should see a huge transformation. And if the Irish weather holds up, we will head off in Fergus. Now that we have a diesel heater, doesn't really matter how cold it is, we're going to head off and see what we get up to in Fergus. So that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you have any questions, drop it down in the comments, and we'll see you in next week's video. Bye.